Hello everyone, my name is Kenton Cavestiu. I'm an ex-Googler and ex-BCG consultant and the founder of Rocketblocks, an online platform that helps candidates prepare for interviews. In today's Rocketblocks mini lesson, we're going to be doing another chat with a Rocketblocks expert, Jesse Lau, who is a former VP from the consulting group EY-Parthenon and then went on to hold multiple VP titles at the health tech startup Real Self. This interview, which we also filmed during the coronavirus madness, will be done over Zoom for obvious reasons. And in it, we will cover Jesse's perspective on the consulting interviews, sort of the unique flavor of interviews that you might face at EY-Parthenon, and what it's actually like to be a consultant and a consultant leader on the job at EY-Parthenon. So let's go ahead and jump in. Can you talk a little bit about a particularly tough case that you had while you were on the job, and you speak about it, to the extent that the shareable components of it, like maybe what the case is about, et cetera, and then why was that case particularly difficult?
Yeah, so I didn't get to something from an earlier question you asked, which I'll use this one to kind of answer it. Okay. One of the things that was unique about being at a consulting company inside a boutique, high-end strategy consulting company inside of a much, much bigger professional services organization is we got access to a whole different set of clients and to provide the strategic expertise in a much broader range of projects. And in one of those in particular, I was working with a client who was failing. I mean, the client had 25% declines in revenue every year for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And so if you're doing your case math, you know that doesn't mean it went down to zero, but
it's
it was not good. And so our job as a joint Parthenon and EY organization was there was a set of us who were strategic advisors who were helping the company set their strategy for this in this new world. The new world being a dramatically lower cost base. So the other part of the group was a restructuring team that was doing things like sort of detailed cost cutting and like some of the contractual stuff around like negotiating out of leases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so this is a very difficult project because, when you're working on, operational strategy or growth strategy, you feel like you and your clients are in it together, and you're working towards a shared goal of some sort of positive improvement in the business. Whereas when you're working on what did we call it euphemistically? Performance improvement, cutting costs. You're working with clients for whom ostensibly what you're saying is you have to fire people, you have to cut costs, and perhaps your job is at risk. And that is an exceptionally difficult conversation to have, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, the best thing to do in that situation was to come to work every day, build the best relationships I could with the folks who I needed to work with, do everything I could to be empathetic, supportive, and helpful for them, and then to always be armed with the facts, right? And when, what I found, which I actually learned quite a bit from my EY counterparts in this job, because, as a strategic leader, you often think that the best way to address a problem is to like get the answer, right? There's an answer. You do the math problem, you do the analysis, you get the answer. But with these folks who needed to come to terms with a different shape of an organization and making some really hard choices, what they needed was empathy and time. And what I learned from my EY counterparts was, just being there, being consistent. Week one, doors were slammed in our faces, or metaphorically at least. Week two, people were having conversations with us. By weeks 3, 4, 5, we were actually making constructive improvements to the operating profile of the business. And it took relationship building and being a true advisor who was able to speak truthfully, but also empathetically to our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. That type of stuff is really tough, but I sort of agree with your takeaway there of like, this is what works in this type of environment. Like it's less about some quantitative answer and more just about supporting the folks, because it's tough, right? Like no one wants to go through that.
No.
And unfortunately, given the timing of this call, like there's probably a lot of this happening around the whole world.
Yeah. It sure is. I never seen anything like this, of course, and to see how it's affected every single nook and cranny of the economy has really just, I mean, it really is, it's incomprehensible, the size and scope of this. And some thoughtful, empathetic leaders are more critical now than ever.
Great. I hope you enjoyed that excerpt from my conversation with Jesse Lau. If you've got questions or specific topics you'd love to see us cover in future videos with Rocketblock's experts, please go ahead and leave a comment down in the section below, and we will consider that for future videos. So thank you so much for watching. We have a ton of great content coming out on both the consulting and the product management career paths on a weekly basis. So if you haven't subscribed yet already, please do so below. There is a big red button down there. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.